watching Rogers TV.
Hey, welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Oh my goodness, the cool weather is here. I know actually the temperatures are going to change a little bit, but of course with the cool weather, a little bit of snow on the ground, that means the holidays are just around the corner. And if you have somebody on your list that perhaps loves to cook like myself, or is a foodie that loves to go out and cook, do all those things, well, Paula Roy, she is the host of Paula Roy's Favorite Foods here on Rogers TV. And I understand a brand new season is coming, is that right?
That's a fact.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Season 5, I can't believe it.
I know, this is exciting.
I kind of want to be British and say it's Series 5, because it sounds so much more impressive. Yeah, we'll be filming in the wintertime, and then it takes post-production takes a while, so not sure yet when they'll hit the airwaves.
Well, that's amazing news. Congratulations. And today, as I said, we're talking about the cook, the foodie. Even if somebody just likes cooking on occasion, it's important to have the proper tools, the proper books, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about today. Where do you want to start today?
So I'll start by saying all of these items are available on my website, Constantly Cooking, in nice little tidy wrap-up. There's a holiday gift guide and a cookbook gift guide, and people can find them. So don't have to take notes. You can just listen and watch. So we'll start at this end. So this is, as you've heard me say many times, I'm a big fan of air fryers. Yeah. I've tried so many, and most of them have been terrific, but this is the latest and greatest. This is infrared.
Infrared.
So no preheating required, and really a great even heat, and the air circulation in this unit is so good. Clear see-through window so you can watch your food cooking.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I actually had a friend over, and her dog was just staring at the chicken inside. It was hilarious.
I can see that.
And then it's got 7 different program functions, including super crisp, so you can have this nice little boost at the end for perfectly crispy homemade chicken fingers, whatever you're making. So it's a really good unit, very affordable, and I just love the design of it. It's kind of sleek and modern,
absolutely.
and it would look nice if you're going to leave it out on the counter, and it's fairly compact, so easy to fit in a cupboard.
Right. Well, and I've told you, I'm trying to convince Monica to buy one of these things. So why is this, why is everybody using one of these? What's the big advantage and benefit to this?
The big advantage is that you're not heating your big oven. So for example, Monica would appreciate this. I roast a ton of vegetables in my air fryer, and they roast just beautifully. It takes about 12 minutes versus 25 or 30 in the oven. The basket goes into the dishwasher when I'm done. I do carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, squash, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, really anything at all. And it just, such great even results. It's a miniature convection oven. That's what an air fryer is.
And much less dangerous than the old fryers, right? That we, remember those with the basket?
My mom did French fries for 8 people in a pressure cooker of oil on the stove, and it's a wonder I'm still here.
And I guess too, it's healthier, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're using so much less oil, right?
I have a little sprayer, so if I do like homemade chicken strips, and I'll do all kinds of neat toppings like crushed Doritos. So brine them in buttermilk and a little hot sauce, and then roll them in crushed Doritos, and then little tiny spritz of oil, and they come out, they are perfection. They're just so good, like restaurant quality.
I'm looking that up on constantlycooking.com. All right. This next one, you told me you wanted me to hold this up. I did not necessarily understand what this was until you described it to me. So what is this exactly? This is a company
called Lucky Iron, and they make this leaf, and then you can see on the table in front there's a fish version, and these add iron to your food as it cooks. So really important. So many people are iron deficient, and it could be just something genetic. It could be that your diet is not rich enough in iron, especially for vegetarians and vegans. So this I hate to use the word leeches, but it just infuses. It infuses your food.
Yeah, leaching's not the right word, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it infuses your food with iron, and it's FDA approved, food grade certified, good for about 1,800 uses. So a really simple way to just simmer it in, let's say a lentil chickpea stew or something, and you won't taste any difference, but your body will love you for it.
Okay, that's amazing. I've never heard of something like that. All right, let's turn our attention to knives.
Okay, I know you're big on having the right tools, as you mentioned earlier, and knives are so important. This idea came from going to a friend's cottage in the summer, and I might as well have taken I don't know, a metal edge ruler to cut things. It's like, sorry, Andrea, but I thought you just need the right kind of knife. And what I love about these ones, 3 different sizes for different purposes, including a true paring knife for peeling. That's what paring is. So it's got a little curved blade, and they come with covers. So if you've got littles in your house, you can slap the cover on, put them in the drawer. Nobody's going to be reaching for the sippy cup straw and have an accident.
Not to mention if you don't have one of those sort of knife separators in a drawer, right? And they're just all over each other, you'll dull them much quicker. So if you don't, right?
So I got this set of 3 at Lee Valley Tools. You can find similar knives and just pay that little bit extra for good quality. This is a good brand, and they will stay sharp for a long, long time.
And we've all been, you just described your friend. I remember going to a friend's place and like literally just trying to cut a tomato. And the knife was so dull, I had to stab the tomato in order to cut. And you don't want to say anything, right? So,
I did.
Did you really?
Sure.
If they're watching, I think I have a gift idea for you. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's move over because those that are foodies, and there's so many great products out there right now, right?
That's right. And these, I sometimes call these the boss gifts. Not that they are bosses in the best, but for the boss, right? You've got this. Perhaps well-paid executive in your life, and what do you get them? You know, a lot of times people will go to the LCBO and pick out a couple of nice bottles or something, but food is really fun if they're into food. So this is a company called nuts.com. They're US-based, but I confirmed they are still shipping to Canada.
Okay.
And this pasta, it's just a pasta party in a box. I just love it. Their tagline is, it's not a party without pasta. So you get 2 kinds of dried pastas, some olive oil drizzle, some fancy salt pasta sauce. There's a candle. Not sure, I think that fell down. Anyway, all kinds of great things, and it comes in this beautiful giftable box. You just slap a bow on it and you're ready to go.
There you go. Makes it really easy. I want to turn our attention to the bread that you brought along here because as I said, my wife doesn't eat bread. We were talking before the show and I said to Paula, so when I buy like a beautiful loaf of crusty French bread, I feel like I have to eat it in one sitting, right?
You do you, Derek.
Well, you know, sometimes you want to save it for the next day, but you brought something kind of interesting. This isn't necessarily guaranteeing it's going to keep it fresh for days, right? But what is this idea that you've got here?
This is a linen bag, and it's been impregnated with beeswax. So 2 beautiful sort of organic products right there. The name is Kiki, and I don't want to forget to mention that a portion of proceeds from the sale of these goes to support an Ontario pollinators charity. So that's a really nice thing. So better than plastic because the bread can still breathe.
Right.
So it will inhibit mold for quite a long time versus plastic, not forever. So you obviously have to keep checking. What I typically do is keep it on the counter in this bag for maybe 3 or 4 days after I make a loaf of my homemade sourdough, and then I pop it into the fridge in the bag for a few more days. And I used to try the sheets of beeswax wrap to wrap the bread, but that's like trying to put a greased pig in a snowsuit. Like, it's just ridiculous. So it's got a drawstring closure, super simple, and it comes in different sizes. So depending on the shape of bread you make or the person that you're gifting it to, you can find the right size bag.
Well, and you also had another great idea for somebody like me, and you love making homemade bread.
Yes.
Is just make smaller loaves,
That's
right?
Like a cup of flour, you get a beautiful little demi baguette, and then there's no guilt if you eat the whole thing. It's perfect.
Okay, that is perfect. This machine, it just wows me. You have to describe what we're looking at here.
Okay, so this is a Cuisinart 4-in-1. They call it the Coffee Center Barista Bar. And it replaces having a couple of different coffee machines in your house. So there's the conventional drip here with the, the basket to put the coffee in and so on. And it can make up to 12 cups of drip coffee, so that's great.
Yeah.
But then someone comes along and says, I want an espresso.
Right.
Well, you can pop an espresso capsule in here and do a single or double shot Nespresso, and then you can also put in most conventional single serving pods and make just an individual cup of coffee that way.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to force that. And then, of course, there's the steam wand included here, so you can heat and froth milk, which is great.
Nice.
But it also dispenses hot water, so you can also have hot water for tea, instant oatmeal, ramen if that's your kick, whatever you want.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Paula Roy right after this.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot. Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty. Welcome back to the show. We are back with Paula Roy, host of Paula Roy's Favorite Foods, Season 5, by the way, coming in the new year. And we're talking about great gift ideas for the cook on your list or perhaps the foodie on your list. And if you have somebody that likes dining out, I mean, who doesn't? We have so many wonderful restaurants. That's where we're starting in this segment. And one of my favorite restaurants, not far from here, actually just down the road here.
Yeah, and I know that Chef Pat Garland, owner and operator of Absinthe Cafe, has been on the show.
That's right.
He's the most humble, talented chef in town, I swear. So community-minded, and he does not do it screaming it from the rooftops. It's just quiet and generous, and it's amazing. So I love everything on the menu at Absinthe. I do think I have actually eaten everything on the menu there.
Have you really?
It's a go-to. I just love
Nice.
it. We'll start with the creme brulee for one hot second. Oh my gosh, so good.
And the steak frit.
Absolutely, and the burger, and we could go on.
I guess
but
you could.
Today I want to mention a really great holiday treat, and that is their Tuesday fondue night. So they have gift certificates, and they're just pretty easy to put in an envelope and stick in the tree or whatever. And it's a 3-course European-style fondue. So you start with the cheese fondue course, and then you move on to the filet mignon course, and then they have the chocolate fondue for dessert. And I know you've had it. I've enjoyed it. It's such great value, and I love that it's a meal that people really have to linger over because you can't rush it. And I actually was there last week on fondue night, and the place was packed on a Tuesday in Ottawa. That is such a testament to how great this offering is. So get yourself to Absinthe, and if you can't get to Hindenburg to the restaurant, they do sell the gift cards online as well.
Nice. And I will say, Pat actually brought the cheese fondue on the show at one point, and he invited one of our crew members to come and enjoy it while we were doing the segment. You should have seen the face on this crew member. Like, he was just like, oh my God, this is so good. Oh, I love fondues. And actually, that's like a New Year's Eve thing that we do at home.
Yeah. Well, and
each and every year.
I make a good cheese fondue, but it cannot hold a candle to the one at Absinthe.
I'm the same.
I don't know, there's some secret magic in there.
Yeah, he does have the magic. Let's move on to cookbooks. There are so many out there, and this is what I love about having you here, because you curate all of these things for us, right?
I sure do. I looked at, oh my gosh, probably 24 cookbooks, and these are my top picks for this year. Again, on constantlycooking.com, there's a roundup of these cookbooks. So the first one is really great for bakers. What it does is it gives you the science to help you veganize a recipe, how to make it lactose-free, how to make it gluten-free. So all the science is there. There's great recipes. You can just open it up and cook.
Nice.
But instead, if you want, the Elements of Baking will teach you the science. And if you've got diverse people to bake for, it's just an absolute go-to resource.
I love that. And I'm glad you mentioned science, because baking is tricky.
That's
right. Like, you
chemistry.
don't, it's chemistry. You don't mess around with things. I mean, there are wonderful alternatives out there, which is great, right? If you have if perhaps you're celiac or you're gluten intolerant, or as you just said, dairy free.
So this is your resource, exactly.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
Really, really helpful.
All right, what else have you got?
So this is Otto Lengi, very famous cookbook author. This is his new book called Comfort, and that literally it's comfort food between two covers. Global inspired, really accessible recipes. I love the instructions in these books. He must have a great team. Then they really test the recipes and test the instructions, because I have yet to find an error, and man, do I look for errors in cookbooks, because I take such care with writing my own recipes.
Yeah, no, I
understand. And I had someone reach out yesterday. All of your recipes, the instructions are so clear. And I was like, thank you, because it matters,
it's
right?
True.
You can't have a pretty picture and nice ingredients and then not good instructions.
It's like, sometimes when you go to an international grocer, which I love doing, we have some great ones right across the city. It doesn't matter what sort of ethnicity it is, but if it comes from the country, the direction sometimes, first of all, it may not be in English.
Correct.
Or the translation is just so confusing sometimes,
they've
right?
slapped a translation sticker on it, and
All right, what else have you got?
So this is a really helpful book, especially for people who like globally inspired food. They're going to hear stories about his travels and growing up and all kinds of fun things.
Okay.
So this one is called, I had to look here, Easy Weeknight Dinners. I love this for time crunch cooks. So this is New York Times Cooking, which is a great resource, and there's a whole community around it now. So the New York Times might publish a recipe, and then people weigh in on it, and they say, oh, I made that, but I did this, and then they have user-published recipes in there. So really great, simple, clear pictures and instructions, and they're all fast and delicious, and it says weeknight suppers, but I think that you could make dinner parties out of a lot of these recipes too.
Nice.
So just again, I would picture this for someone maybe who's starting out and they still have aspirations to cook from scratch multiple nights a week. So this would be a really good starting point.
I have someone in mind. Thank you. Okay.
Barefoot Contessa, people who like watching food TV. Ina Garten's she's one of my heroes. She's so no nonsense, and she loves food and loves entertaining, but it's very accessible. So this is her memoir, and it's not a cookbook per se, but I thought people who are into food, I have a few foodie friends who love reading food memoirs, and this is it's a no holds barred story. Like, she just tells it like it is, and very, very readable. I raced through that. It was a really good book.
Excellent. This next one looks like it's right up my alley as well.
So good. So this is a nutritionist who's written this, and it's kind of like we talked about how vegans and vegetarians can have trouble getting iron in their diets. It can be really difficult to get enough protein, for example, if you're starting out in vegetarianism or veganism and you're not quite sure what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So these are all nutritionally balanced recipes. I served a few to friends, and first off, they didn't even know that they were vegan, which was great, the recipes.
Oh, really?
And just
that's a good sign.
a lot of flavor, and not huge portions, but incredibly satisfying. And that's really what I look for in vegetarian and vegan food. I would rather eat something really delicious in a small amount, and then look forward to the leftovers, maybe.
No, but you're right. I mean, sometimes we do go overboard, right? And in how much we serve ourselves, and then you just don't feel the greatest after. All right, we got 60 seconds left. This is one of my wife's favorite shows.
It's so many people's favorite show, Bridgerton. So I love that they have taken that whole vibe of beautiful parties on the lawn and over-the-top tea parties and banquets and all this stuff, and put it between the pages of this book. There's tons of photos from the show. Oh, really? And
nice.
Just neat little cakes and sweets and all sorts of fun things. So if someone like Monica who loves Bridgerton, they will just eat this book up. It's just so fun.
And we were not sure. We mentioned season 5. You're taping over the winter, right? So sometime in 2025.
Correct.
We'll keep people updated when the show's coming back. And of course, constantlycooking.com. Oh, look at the timing of that. Constantlycooking.com to find out a ton of different recipes and, of course, gift ideas. It's all there for you. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
After a night out with your friends, not having a plan for a safe ride home can leave you in a bad spot. You could end up riding in a police car, an ambulance, or a hearse. These unplanned modes of transportation can be a costly choice and do not take you home. Your plan could include a designated driver, a taxi, or public transit. Drink responsibly, choose your ride, and have a plan for a safe ride home.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, right here on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty. He's known as the migraine whisperer, and if you suffer from migraines, perhaps you should consider seeing a chiropractor, especially my next guest. Dr. Craig Hinson joins me. He is a chiropractor with the Loving Life Chiropractic. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you here. Last time we were here, you described your background and how you got into this, so we've had the introduction. I want to jump right into the migraine whisperer, and where did that moniker come from? Why migraines in particular?
That's an excellent question, Derek. Thanks very much. So my job as a first principle chiropractor is looking at the spine, okay? Now, the reason that we have the spine, the primary reason, obviously, is so we can stand up and we can see things, we go hunting and spot predators and stuff, but the primary reason it exists is to protect the nerve system. So it's like a box, but it's a very flexible box. It's a very long box. What I found, actually, it started with my mother. My mother, strangely, I'd been in chiropractic for 10 years. My mother got diagnosed with cancer. My own personal, and this again, as I mentioned last time, these stories I tell you, that they vary from person to person. My own personal experiences, they really help with coughs and colds. My mother got diagnosed with throat cancer. I traveled 500 miles and took her to a chiropractor and said, you've got to see this chiropractor just because it's good for your immune system. Okay. And there's a big debate of whether it was, in my case, I found it was. But after 3 months, the migraines that she'd had for 25 years completely went away. Really? And I remember as a 14-year-old, her working under the stairs on a sewing machine and having to stop and go and lie down in a dark room because of the excruciating migraines. So fast forward another 5 years, I'm now a chiropractor. I'm working here in Ottawa on Byron Avenue at Loving Life Chiropractic. And I'm working with lots of men and women, but the ladies, I'm noticing a lot of them coming with migraines and headaches, and after, sometimes 2 months, sometimes a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of adjustments, they're seeing a big radical change in their migraines. And I'm like, wow, and I started to study that a lot more. I was already into it, but looking at it a lot more. And I've refined my technique, and I'm upper cervical, which is the top of the neck. Right. This is the very top bone. It's a ring bone, so it's very different to the main block type bones. Now, I'm very, very specific at adjusting the top bone in the neck. Okay. Unfortunately, it doesn't get a lot of the techniques I've learned don't get taught in schools, which is a shame. I'd love it that they were, because by balancing that top bone there, this is where I'm seeing a lot of these crazy results. I mean, they're not crazy to me, but if you're not aware of this kind of idea, this principle, then you're not going to get.
We're just looking at the graphic, by the way, that you sent along here as well.
Okay, so this is the nerve map. So most people think about bad necks and bad backs, but the nerves come out. They go into the arms, can result in tingling in the fingers from the neck. Right. They also, from the lower back, it goes to all the internal organs. So conceivably, stomach issues like ulcers or leaking valves could be due to there not being 100% electrical input through the nerves because of nerve interference. And my job isn't to cure migraines or back pain or headaches or stomach issues, but it's to remove the interference.
I see.
So once I remove the interference, in a lot of cases, I'm seeing really great results. Now, it is true that in some cases, so for example, if you had a leg cut off, I could adjust your pelvis, but your leg isn't going to grow back because that is not a chiropractic issue.
Yes.
However, if you did have leg issues, then you'd want to be balanced, because going through life with, in that situation, you want to be more balanced. You want to be corrected regularly so that everything stays nice and balanced to prevent, and this is the big thing, prevent premature spinal aging. So many people, they've got premature spinal aging, they don't even know because they're not even any symptoms.
Yeah. So you're going to do a little demonstration with me here today.
The first one is we're going to identify this in the neck. So really simple, and the viewers can do this at home. Behind your ears, just if you feel that big bony prominence, that's that is the base of the skull. So you slide down off the base of the skull into the muscly bit. So you're just at the edge, that horizontal edge. You move your finger backwards and forwards, and when you get a little sensitive, you'll feel that there's actually a groove between two muscles. Now, if you press on one side, now actually before you do this at home, if you already have migraines or if you already have nerve issues or maybe even neck pain, be very, very careful, because this can actually cause tingling in the hands or actually even migraines to set off. But for the rest of us, if you press in on one finger, you'll feel the other finger move. And when you get on it, this is a great thing. See, Derek's had it. But this is a great thing. When you teach the kids, even me as a chiropractor,
it's a little freaky.
I do this all the time. And even me as a chiropractor, when I get it, I'm like, whoa, that's kind of strange. And I know this stuff. Yeah. So you definitely see. I love it when people get it, because they just go, whoa. So you guys at home, if you're getting that, good job.
So you want me
don't
to
press too
sit
hard.
down here?
Now, that was just, yes, please, So that was just to show where that ring bone is, so you guys can identify it yourselves. Now, the next thing, the extent of this problem, 2.7 million Canadians suffer with migraines, and 3 times more women than men, so almost 2 million women suffer with migraines. And if you imagine a class of 30 kids, that means 5 of them are not able to concentrate, they're not able to function, they're probably on painkillers. And the flip side of that is, of those 5, 4 of them are probably female. Okay, so the next stage, once we've identified, is what we're going to do about it, or the loss of function is what I'm identifying now. Okay, so let's see how Derek's next movement. So turn your head this way, Derek, as far as you can. So that is about 50 out of 90. Okay, ideally you want to be 80 or 90. So I know straight away Derek's got some functional thing going on in his neck. And turn the other way as far as you can. Now that's more. If you look at your shoulder now, Derek, you can see more of your shoulder that side than this side. Probably about 10 degrees difference. So that tells me there's an asymmetry. And I'm just going to palpate Derek's neck. This is a scientific word that just means touch and feel in a family-friendly way,
Just going to give you a heads up. We have 60 seconds left.
Yeah. So as I slide off the back, there is Atlas. Now, this is what I do to everyone that comes along to my office. So if your viewers would like to come along for a free 15-minute consultation, do you feel that? C2
I do.
on the left, that's what's called a subluxation, which just means nerve imbalance. Come down a bit lower there, C6 on the left, the opposite side. And then when I come up to here, C1, this is the key one. Soft there, a little harder there.
I can feel that.
Yeah, so as I'm pressing, it feels like an uncomfortable tickle.
See? So if they say to you, they saw you on Daytime Ottawa.
Daytime Ottawa only,
Consultation.
Free consultation.
725-2525?
The phone number is, 725-2525.
I remembered.
7-325.
LovingLifeChiropractic.com as well to find out more information. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot. Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
Unbelievable. You never see that. What a shot. Scores! The OHL on Rogers TV.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdsville, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Are you a content creator looking to expand your audience and make your voice heard in your community? Rogers TV wants to provide you with a platform to share your hobbies, interests, and stories for free. Visit us to find out more.
Hey, welcome back to the show. This is exciting news because we're so proud to be a part of this here at Rogers, because they recently announced the 2024 recipients of the Youth Grant recipients, and this is all across the country, by the way, including right here in Ottawa, and I'm joined by two organizations that received some of these grants. By the way, nearly $3 million worth of cash and in-kind media grants offered by Rogers just this year alone. And two of the recipients here in Ottawa are the Community Housing Foundation. Tracy is the Senior Manager. Welcome. Great to have you here. And Medine is the Chief Programs Officer of BGC Ottawa. Medine, welcome back. Great to have you here as well. Let's first of all talk, Tracy, a little bit about what this means to an organization like Ottawa Community Housing. We'll start with that.
Yeah, so the Ottawa Community Housing Foundation supports the 33,000 tenants who live within Ottawa Community Housing. And so there's 155 communities throughout the city of Ottawa, and we run programs and activities to support those tenants who live within those communities. And so one of our programs is the Youth Futures program, where we run a 6-month leadership program. So that is where Rogers came in and supported that program for us.
Nice. BGC Ottawa, again, the impact, a great impact on the youth in our community as well, right, Medine?
Thank you. Yeah, we feel the same. Yeah. For sure.
Talk to us a little bit about the program that you're going to put this $25,000 towards.
Sure. So this is a leadership program. It's our leadership development program for young people between the ages of 14 and 18, so grade 9 to 12. And it's a development program where they work on communication skills, problem solving, decision making, where they get, we have staff that are there to support these young people in learning these things, some for the first time, some in a very intensive manner. We bring in guest speakers, we do out trips. There's a lot of opportunities for them to learn, and then hopefully they end up leaving the program after 4 years of participating, and they get either a scholarship or they get different opportunities as a result.
Yeah, Medine, I think it's a unique program in that there's a real commitment here, right? It's not just a day program. Do you ask each youth member to commit to that 4-year period when they start?
Oh yeah, so BGC Ottawa, we serve the whole city. We serve over 5,000 youth every year. Most of our programming is drop-in. So you just have to sign up for a free membership and you just come in. There are some specialty programs like this one called Leaders for Life. And so with this one, you actually have to sign up for it specifically. You have to write what that you're going to commit to being. There's a different level of involvement that you have to have, and so that you have to commit to that from the start. People apply to do that to make sure that they can be a part of it. It's a very supportive program, and there's only a few kids that could participate in that, so we make sure that the ones that want to be there, the ones that are there want to really be there.
Yeah, I mean, you just learn so many different things as part of that program. It's an incredible one. Tracy, can you just expand a little bit more on your program for us?
So the Youth Futures program runs every year, and we support 150 students who are interested in pursuing post-secondary education. and employment. And so it's every Saturday they show up to program and they learn advanced leadership skills, mentorship. They have an experience, a 6-week job placement in a career of their choice. So depending on what they would like to do when they finish their high school, they get an employment in that field. And so they get to try it out. They get to create those connections and network for them so that once they're finished their post-secondary education, that they're able to pursue that career.
Right. Where does the majority of your funding come from, Tracy?
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
We're small but mighty. And so fundraising is a big piece. Grants is a big piece as well. And private donations is also really well welcomed.
Medina, I imagine it's the same for BGC Ottawa as well, right? It's a little bit of everything across the board?
Very much so. Actually, this program that we run,
yeah.
I think Tracy's going to speak to it too, but part of the funding comes from City of Ottawa for the Youth Futures program. So we actually were one of their partners.
Okay.
Yeah,
and,
so we're core partners on this Youth Futures program.
Yeah. That is amazing.
It's the city, ourselves, and BGC Ottawa.
So this $25,000 then, I mean, the impact, like just put it in perspective for us. What does that mean for BGC Ottawa, Medina?
Oh, it's huge. It gives us a chance to really focus in on specific kids' skills, right? And so that means that they graduate from the program with scholarships, and that means that they are able to get exposed to special speakers that can talk about a specific topic. They've done financial literacy training. They've done employment writing workshops where they're working on their resumes or talking about career opportunities. What can they do? So it just gives them like an extra set of attention that unlike our other programs that people come and go, and so those are great too. We love those and we'll do those forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is for those young people that want a little bit more or need a little bit more. Our staff will tell them this is an opportunity for you to really zone in on this, and if you want to get that job one day, come learn some skills and we'll introduce you to people where you could network and meet people and do that.
Tracy, what about the impact of this $25,000 for your program? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so this $25,000 is going towards technology, and is going towards tools to set up the program well for next year. So projectors, printers, Chromebooks, all sorts of technology to make sure that the kids and the mentors in the program are set up for a successful year. And so what they'll do is we have Chromebooks that all the mentors will have so that they're able to communicate with all the youth in the program. So they each have their own little cohort that they support during the program, during the 6 months. And so they need those tools to be able to communicate with the youth. And we have computers and laptops for youth who might not have their own laptop at home. So we really try to make this as accessible as possible. It's a free program, and we only accept 150 per year. There's over 300 who apply yearly.
Right.
And most of them are the first to pursue post-secondary education in their families.
It's amazing, yeah, and it's great to be, because kids communicate in this fashion, right?
Yes.
Through technology. Thanks to you both. Really appreciate you being here today, and of course, thanks to Rogers for these grants. As I said, almost $3 million in cash and in media kind grants across the country this year. We'll be back with more right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Welcome to community news and events on Rogers TV Channel 22. I'm John Dickens. For over 40 years, the Snowsuit Fund has been dedicated to keeping children warm during the harsh winter months by providing snowsuits to children from low-income families, ensuring they can play, learn, and stay healthy in the cold. Hamry Real Estate Team is kicking off their 5th annual Snowsuit Fund initiative. Anyone in the Orleans area can drop off a new or gently used snowsuit at participating businesses. Each year, the fund distributes thousands of snowsuits thanks to the generosity of local donors like you. Families can apply for assistance and keep their young ones warm as the cold weather approaches. Visit snowsuitfund.com for a list of participating local businesses. Watch Strength and Balance weekdays at 7 a.m. right here on Rogers TV Channel 22.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Welcome back. Already having fun with my next guest. Mary Taggart is back with her latest Mary's Must Read Book Club pick, and this is a special one because she's brought along the author with her. Katie Tallow joins me. She is the author of many different books, but before we introduce Katie formally, let's talk about your latest pick and why you decided on Buried Road.
Okay, well, probably, there's several reasons.
Okay.
I think probably one of the most fun aspects of it is Katie is an Ottawa author, so we love that. And her books are set in Ottawa. This one, the one we chose, Buried Road, this is actually set in Prince Edward County, so there we've got that beautiful cover, which I don't know if we can we go down and, it does match my shoes. Are we going to see, can we see that? Can we do that?
There you go, Ken.
Can we get on there?
Nicely done.
Kind of like a package wrapped up for Christmas. So that's kind of why I chose it, because I did have the right shoes to wear.
Katie, you never know what direction she's going, so I just apologize.
It's very important that I have the right shoes to wear with the book cover, right?
Yes.
Okay, I digress. Anyhow, this book, so what I'm loving about this book, so I read this, I feel like I read it in a day, but that's not, I'd be lying if I said that, but it was close to a day.
Okay.
It is, you cannot put this book down. And what I was really intrigued about is it's a trilogy.
Okay.
But, and here's where we're gonna ditch me and get straight to Katie.
Okay.
It's so clever how she has created so much suspense with this book and so much intrigue. You do not need to read the others, although you should read the others. And I find that really clever because you know how you read some trilogies you read and your mind is constantly going back to the other books and seeing if the author has followed through and how they've done it.
Yeah.
But this reads like a standalone book, which is a real tribute to Katie's talents. There's so many tributes to Katie's talents in this book because it's very complex. There's lots of characters and there's a lot going on. And I'm going to admit it right here on live television.
Okay.
I sometimes cannot be super focused. I didn't miss a trick.
This is a shocker.
It's shocking.
Okay, Katie. So I'm guessing that this is would you describe it as a thriller? Is that?
I would describe it as a thriller, yeah. A mystery thriller. It's a missing persons thriller.
Okay.
So it's set in Prince Edward County.
Beautiful spot,
Starts out in Ottawa, but they go to Prince Edward County pretty quickly. And it's about a character that I've featured in my other novels, Gus Monet, and she takes her daughter to Prince Edward County because someone they care about disappeared 3 years earlier. The van he was driving has turned up, and clues have emerged. So they go back to follow these clues, and people don't really want them there.
And I think what's interesting too, from what I've read about this book, is it's from the perspective of young Bly, right? So just as an author, getting into the space of a young person. I mean, you were once young, like the rest of us. But is this
once young?
Well, yeah, I mean, but this is
I'm not 13.
Much younger person, Mary.
I get it.
So a 13-year-old. Just tell me about writing in that perspective.
Well, you know, I did it because I really wanted to do something different with the third novel as well. The first two are told sort of in the third person, but very much from Gus's point of view. And I wanted to turn the lens on her. And she becomes a mother, and I wanted her daughter to kind of, it's very much about mothers and daughters, these novels. And so that theme runs through them, and I wanted to have the daughter's perspective on her mother. Because she's not the easiest character to love. She's complicated, she's reckless, she's
the mother.
The mother.
Yeah.
And so the daughter is quite different. She's a little anxious, so her perspective to all that they're going through gave it a bit of a gentleness that felt necessary for the story. And you know, my daughter teaches grade 6. And so I would talk to her about that age, you know, roughly 12 or so.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, there isn't really one way they are. There's kids in her class who are very mature, old, wise souls, you know, and there are kids that are babies.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all in that same age range. So I just had to work on finding a voice that made sense. And once I started to hear it, then I was able to sort of portray her in a nice way. And it gave it a nice flavor that she's seeing the world through those eyes. And so everything is kind of naive, but yet tender, and yet she is able to, you know, sort of get a little bit of her mother's gusto in the end.
Was that mother character inspired by anyone in your life?
No, you know, she's a mix of a lot of things. I mean, I initially started, Dark August was my first novel, and so I didn't know if it would be published. And when it, you know, was out there in the world, I thought, well, if it never gets published and nobody reads it, at least my daughter will read it, and she's a mystery lover. So I kind of wrote it for her and with her in mind, and wrote a character I knew she would love and connect to. Not that it's like her, but I knew she'd get this sort of loner character who was, you know, struggling to find her way in the world. And, you know, I think she just kind of evolved as someone that, you know, was bits of me, bits of her. So, but she's much braver than I am. You
Mary,
know,
did you start with the first book, or did
I've read all 3.
So you have.
I have read all 3, but it's been a while because they've been out for a while. So it's been, I mean,
2020 was Dark August.
Yeah. So it's I really, and I read a lot of books in there, you know. But I do want to say that it's a real tribute to how Katie has developed this book and this character of Augusta Gus. She's an unconventional mother, and that's fair to say, right? She's a very unconventional mother, but the mother-daughter relationship is so strong that, you know, you could kind of wonder some of the things this mom does, but at her heart is always her daughter. Which is such a, you know, it's a beautiful tribute to the character and
the relationship, between mother and daughter. I mean, any mom and daughter watching now is probably going, I need to read this book.
Right?
I need to read all 3 of these books,
I loved the mother-daughter relationship in that book. And I know it's not, you know, which makes it, I write women's fiction, it makes it kind of women's fiction-ish. Yeah. So I'm reading it from that perspective, which, was that your intention in there, or did it just evolve?
Don't be asking another question. I got 10 seconds left. They can pick up the book at, I imagine, anywhere books are sold.
You know, local bookstores are all carrying it right now. They've got lots of copies, and they're very excited about it. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, that would be a great place to go.
Congratulations, Katie.
Thank you.
And thank you, as usual, Mary. Really appreciate it. Follow Mary on Instagram for her next book club pick. We'll be back with more right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
Growing up, I was surrounded by violence. I had the drive to pursue education, but I didn't have the means. I couldn't afford to because the child welfare system is not enough to support youth who want to go into higher education. And that's where the Children's Day Foundation of Canada stepped in to provide financial support and today I have my neuroscience degree. Education makes every child unstoppable.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Welcome back to the show. This is a fantastic initiative. It is called Connected Canadians, and doing so much wonderful work here in our community and, of course, cross country. Let's introduce you to two guests here. I've got Caitlin Shing. She is the Outreach Coordinator with Connected Canadians, and Karina Fleck is a client with Connected Canadians. Welcome to you both. Great to have you here. Caitlin, give us an idea of the type of programs that Connected Canadians does here in Canada.
Of course. So the two main programs that we really promote is first our workshops, where those are topic-based. So we have a really fun one like how to use ChatGPT, how to use Google Maps, or what's music streaming. So those are more of our general workshops where we'll host them at community centers or maybe senior living residences.
Okay.
So it's nice and accessible for everyone. They can come in and kind of get a taste for what's out there technologically wise. And where I've met Karina is through our one-on-one mentoring sessions. So that's where we pair up a mentor, such as myself, with a client, such as Karina, and we work one-on-one to resolve any technology issues, but also work on any of your technological goals. So I'm sure you'll talk about a bit more, but at the start of the session, we talk about what do you want to learn? What do you want to get out? What do you want to get out of this? Such as, I want to be able to text my grandkids, or I want to know how to use the bus system.
Right.
And then we give a personalized experience of how do we do that with the devices you have and the skills you have. That way both people walk away feeling like they've learned something, and more importantly, that they've connected with someone in their community.
So, Caitlin, you mentioned seniors. So, is that your typical client? Like, who are your clients exactly?
Typically, especially when you say look at our website, we say seniors or older adults, typically because those are the generations that are not given the same accessibility to technology.
Right.
So in university or below, or even in the workplace, you're given that training as part of your job or your education. For older adults and seniors, they don't have that accessibility. It's
Right.
not built in. And we want to make sure this is free and accessible for everyone.
Nice.
Because if you don't have access to technology, you're kind of isolated.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So, Karina, what brought you to Connected Canadians? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, I'm of that generation that we thought we were part of seeing technology move away from being job-oriented or top-down to something being essential and totally integral to your life nowadays.
Right.
And for some of us, like myself, I used technology very narrowly and very specifically in work, and I didn't have to make decisions about options, and a variety of devices were not available, and I did not purchase anything, and I didn't know that criteria. So once I retired, I found not only did I have a very limited knowledge or experience with the range of devices that are out there, I didn't have the skill sets that were required, and I didn't have the means of figuring that out all by myself.
Right.
So as a senior, you do have opportunities to access support groups and information, and through them I found out about Connected Canadians.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
once I cottoned on to I need help and I want help, technology can and should play a greater role in my life, and they were just so quick to bring that together and have me in a position where I've not only made a lot of progress, but I'm doing a lot more by myself. And,
So tell me about what's the experience been like then working with Caitlin. Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, my experience is twofold. I do partake in all those courses that are available, the digital literacy courses, and that's what you need to do to broaden your horizon. AI is new on the market. Well, how is someone living alone going to figure out all the details of that? You
Right.
don't have kids necessarily who are coaching you, and you don't have peers. And so I broaden that way. But the beauty of the mentorship program is that there are gaps in my knowledge, right? And the idea and other ongoing questions, because I needed to replace a printer, and I can get so far on my own.
I got
you know, I want to kind of fine-tune this. And the trouble with technology too, and the beauty of what Caitlin provides, is that she has a lot of a breadth of knowledge, and she's also very highly trained and very capable about tutoring, and that involves a lot. You have to have a certain demeanor to work with someone you don't know on something they don't know. And you also have to be adaptable, and you have to bring a lot of qualities and skill into giving some depth to my knowledge. So she has listened to what I need, and she helps me identify what I can't do, and she provides me with the means to develop and grow.
Caitlin, on the other side, I mean, I see the benefits here. I mean, there must be benefits to you as well, being a mentor. Tell me about that experience working alongside somebody, of course, like Karina.
Oh, 100%. So for me, I'm not from Ottawa. I moved here from Vancouver, had to go through the pandemic. So it's so great to have this experience where I get to work with someone within my community and from a different generation. As I said, I'm in university. I'm not having a lot of these interactions, and we were just chatting in the green room or during our sessions. It's so nice to have that shared wisdom and insight. So while I am helping Karina with maybe some digital, I guess, problems, issues, goals, you're coming back with a lot of life advice, some stories, and
I can see that, yeah.
And also, you know, let's face it, sometimes the world isn't the happiest place. It can get you down, and I find these sessions are a great way that I can leave a little bit and be in this really safe and loving environment where a lot of your successes become my successes. And I'm so grateful for clients like Karina that welcome me in this journey. They trust me to help them, and you let me celebrate with you when we make little breakthroughs. Or I love hearing the stories of how you get to show off to your kids. You get to teach them something.
I can see that being so much fun. Yes. So Caitlin, on both sides, if someone wants to become a mentor, or they're looking at getting the same type of help that, you know, Karina has described, where do they go? What's the best place?
Yeah, so Connected Canadians, we have our website, so that's the easiest one. Give us a call, connectedcanadians.ca. You might catch me on the phone, actually. That's the great way for mentors to get involved, as well as seniors or older adults.
Fantastic.
We have a form, so you can fill it out on your own, but you can also give us a call if you have any questions or want to just chat with someone to learn a little bit more.
Thank you both. Really appreciate the time. We'll be right back after this.
Smudging is a very important part in our life as we're all learning to walk the good way. When we smudge, we use the sacred medicine, the white sage, the sweetgrass, the tobacco, and the cedar. It cleanses negative energy and replaces it by a positive energy. When I smudge, I cleanse my end and my eagle feather and start cleansing my breath to have better words. I will smudge my eyes so I could see the better things offered to me. I will smudge my ears to hear the good thing that people have to say. I will smudge my hair to have good thinking from my head. I will bring the smudge to my feet so I could walk in respect with our Mother, the Earth. Smudging is the way we give our prayers to connect our spirit to the Creator. We express gratitude for the gift of life, the learning, and growth.
Hey, welcome back to the show. All right, let's review a couple things. No events necessarily to talk about today, but as usual, big thanks to all of our guests again. Paula Roy, if you head over to her website, constantlycooking.com, you can find the recipes of all of the things that she's talked about on the show previously, and of course, some of those great gift ideas for the foodies and that person that loves to cook on your holiday gift list. Dr. Craig Hinson, Loving Life Chiropractic. He is offering anyone that watched the show today, if you call him at 613-725-2525. You can get a free 15-minute consultation along with a cup of tea. And every Tuesday, by the way, at 5 p.m., if you go to themigrainewhisperer.com, every Tuesday at 5 p.m., he has a live YouTube show that you can connect with him there as well. A big congratulations again to Medine and Tracy, and of course their organizations, Ottawa Community Housing Foundation and BGC Ottawa, for being recipients of those Rogers Rogers grants. Those are the Rogers Youth Grant recipients here in the Ottawa area. A big thanks to Rogers, of course, almost $3 million in cash and in-kind media across the country. Thanks for watching this edition. We'll see you next time here on Daytime.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Karen. I'm here with my best friends Shane and Monique. Join us on Rogers TV for Fitness Faction. Every week we're going to take you through a full body workout. We've got strength training, we've got cardio, we've got HIIT. Ladies, let's get back into it.
I think we've got 10 more skaters. Let's go.